What's going on, brother? How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. So, guys, we are excited to have you here today. We want to talk about literally one of the easiest ways to fast track a business and create freedom. And it's kind of top of mind, and that is the idea of working with a mentor or working with a person or a group of people, quite frankly, that can help you kind of, like I said, fast track your business, fast track your life, get to the next level. So that's going to be the topic today, right? What do you look for in a mentor? How do you find them? How do you bring value to their life? How do you kind of get on the inside and stay, instead of being on the outside? So Los, let's just kind of jump into it, man. What's been your experience? What role has mentorship played in your life?
So I think mentorship really, I kind of break it down into two different things, right? There's mentorship that's like direct. You hire a mentor specifically. They help you get through like from point A to point B, that gap. And then there's things like masterminds, right? Which it's a different kind of mentorship. Sure, you can have some more one-on-one time, but really what's elevated me is mixing both together. Like as an example, this year alone, I've spent, I just signed on to a copy one yesterday. I've spent about almost $200,000 between masterminds and private coaching, right? And the reason that I do that is because I'm not that good, just being honest, right? Like I'm not that good and I'm not that well connected. And so I'm becoming that because I'm spending the money, and then I'm fast tracking my opportunity to be able to do that. I think a lot of people, when they get involved in business, first it starts like, I want to make all this money. Then you make some money and then you halt and they're like, I don't know why I'm stopping. I think why I've been able to progress is I just keep giving other people money. And to some people that sounds stupid, but for me, like an example, one of the masterminds that I joined, 100K, and I'm going to be in the circle of all the people that everyone else is looking at, right? Connecting with the biggest players in the game. Now I'm going to be friends with them. What does that do? I'm speaking on their stages. I'm jumping on their podcast. I'm making relationships. I can probably do business with them. I'll find some sort of scenario. Boom. I'm now fast track, maybe 10 years ahead of where I could go grinding and kind of getting people getting to know me by myself. That's going to just take too long. With other things, I have another group that I joined, copywriting. It's the most important thing in the world for anybody doing anything. If you're selling something online, it's copywriting, it's angles, it's understanding, it's policies, and I want to get better at that. So I joined a group to help me get even better at that. I'm pretty good at it. I'm nowhere near where these guys are. These guys have sold billions of dollars of copy, and so I want to get in that space. I want to, the next event that they're doing, I'm bringing 4 of my guys, and I'm spending another $10,000 for 4 of my guys to go out and be proficient in these arts, because it's an art and a science, right? I hired another coach literally for my energy levels. I got another coach who's my fitness guy. So I'm out here blowing money. To some, it would be blowing money, but for me, I'm investing in growth. I don't care about the money because it's exponential. I put almost 200K out. I literally expect 2 million back.
Yeah, well, you just nailed it right there, right? The difference is that you expect a return. It's an investment, which I think we should talk about that for a second, because I think a lot of people, especially somebody that has never had a mentor, never had a business coach, maybe even never played team sports or played any kind of sports. They've never actually experienced what it is to work with a quote unquote coach or mentor in their life. They have no idea the value. But I mean, if you really boil it down, if you wanted to learn how to do anything in life, whether it was flipping a house or, like you said, writing copy, or, running a triathlon or running a marathon, one of the very first things you would do, you would never, if you're a moron, you might try to do it on your own. But if you weren't a moron and you had any common sense whatsoever, one of the first things you would do is you would seek out the expert. Go find somebody that can help me, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what the fuck would you go out and try to do this on your own for? I mean, it's a fucking waste of time, and you would go through so much brain damage and lose so much money in the process that would just be pointless. The reality is there are people in every market, in every walk of life, that have the expertise and the knowledge that we are all looking for. And to seek those people out and use that expertise in what you're trying to accomplish just makes sense. I mean, if you think about like the most highly respected athletes in the world, whether it's LeBron James or whether it's Tom Brady or Usain Bolt or whoever it is, every single one of them have a coach. And then when they, in the specific sport they're trying to do, right, they have, and a lot of times they have multiple coaches that are, the strength and conditioning coach, they have a skill coach, they have a nutritionist, they have everybody around them trying to help them get very dialed in on very specific things. And then in addition to that, as they all get into business, guess what? They have a business coach as well. If they try to go get into public speaking, they have a public speaking coach as well. And so my point is if it's good enough for only the most successful people in the world, why in the hell would you think you're any different? Right? I don't give a shit whether you're doing $10 million a year, you're doing $100,000 a year, or you're doing 100 million. There's always somebody out there that's doing it better. Always. And you are a product of the people that you surround yourself with. And so if you don't take that seriously, I can assure you, when you look around the room and if all you see is, a band of dipshits, got 5 or 6 of them around you, well, guess who's number 7? It's you. And you are a product of those people. So you have to get into different rooms that elevate you. I mean, think of it like this. If you got into a room with Los and myself and all the people that we are, all of our peers, if you just sat in that room over the course of 2 days, a quarter, over the course of a year, you would think considerably different. And why would you think different? Because all the stuff we're talking about is the endless possibilities in life and in business, right? We're not talking about $10,000 problems. We're talking about $1 million problems. And you go hang around people that are talking about $1 million problems, suddenly your $10,000 problem seems like nothing. And you just think bigger because you have to. A rising tide raises all ships. And so I think that getting into those rooms and getting around those types of people, I mean, it's been, I could easily say it was the most impactful thing that has helped me grow my business over the years, is just understanding that who I spend my time with matters. And
it matters more than anything. Sometimes it's the catalyst of sometimes other people's full businesses.
100%, dude. I mean, I think about all the masterminds you and I have been, all the people we've hung out with, the masterminds we're in now, the groups we run with now. I mean, you get around people that are doing billions of dollars, and I promise you'll look at your little $1 million problem like, what the fuck am I thinking? What am I talking about?
And it helps you think bigger, right? Like you're like, I want to make $1 million. You're sitting around with people that are like, dude, we do $1 million a month. Then you're like, what am I doing? Right? I mean, that's one of the things that I elevated my stuff for. I was like, I was comfortable thinking, if I just do like, not that it's a little, but if we can get to like 20 million, 25 million, I don't need anything else. And then talking to people like you and Joel and stuff like that, like, why don't you just try to do 100? I was like, well, it's a lot of work. I was like, stop being a bitch. Like, let's just go. It's not going to be that, it's the same effort. It's just, you need this and this and this. And I was like, oh, well, if I could have that, I would do it. Well, he can do this, and he can do that. It's not going to take you more. Now you have the tools. You're in the network, right? So boom, like I can catapult. I do believe that I can do 50 million in like a few years with the things that we're doing.
So let's talk to the people out there that, money is a challenge, right? Because neither one of us have always had money. We've more than had our fair share of struggles. And so it's easy to talk about this now, or at least from people that are watching this or listening to this. There's certainly going to be people out there that it's easy for you guys to talk about it now because you're there, which is not true. I can remember when I spent $25,000 to join a mastermind and literally had $25,000 in my checking account when I did it. So it is, what do you say to the people that are struggling out there, and getting the money together is, part of the challenge, and releasing the money, letting go of the money is even, kind of step 2 of that challenge?
So I think it's 2 things, right? One, this is on you. I mean, I would just like you, because we're crazy guys, but I mean, that's what makes us successful. I'd go in debt, no worries. Like I've just no mental, I'm already not doing great. Fuck it. I'm going to go in debt and see where this goes and takes me. 2, just because you join anything at any level doesn't mean that it's done. It's just the network and the help. Like you got to do the thing. It's still hard. Like this is still hard for me. This is still hard for you. We have help for sure, but that doesn't mean like, well, I joined some stuff. Well, what's my return? Like you got to ask for it, be direct, but then you got to go in and work, and some tweaks might happen. Campaigns might be issues. Like you might get no one coming in on all the letters that you're sending. Yeah, that's just life, man. So you got to be okay with taking it in the chin, which if you're not doing well, you kind of already are. But really, it's just a mindset. Like if I don't switch, if I don't make a change, nothing's going to change. And that's just the truth.
Yeah, I think that look, you know what I've said many, many times before, and I would tell anybody listening to this to pay very close attention, that it is never a lack of resources, right? I don't give a shit how broke you are. It is always a lack of resourcefulness. And if you want it bad enough, your ass will figure it out. And like Lil said, if you got to go into debt, you got to bring on a business partner, if you got to go borrow money from friends and family, if you got to go get a partner in whatever the hell you got to do, you have to clearly understand that there are sacrifices that must be made. There are risks that must be taken. You're not going to get out of any of this scot-free, right? You have got to be willing to bet on yourself at a level that you're willing to give yourself even a chance. The reality of it is what's the alternative? Just sit there and keep doing the same shit you're doing now? I mean, clearly that's not working. Or it's not working to the level that most of us would want. I mean, because that's why we're always aspiring to do more, right? We want the bigger things, the bigger house, the more opportunity, giving back to the community, being able to do the charitable things, make a difference in other people. We all want that shit, and none of that, all that has a price tag, and all of that requires sacrifice. All of that requires you getting in the game at a level that is going to make you painfully uncomfortable. And so if you have to go there and do that anyway, why not do it with some kind of baked in, I don't want to call it insurance, but implied insurance is a good way of saying it, is that, dude, I'd much rather go into the game knowing I got all the people around me who have all the answers and connections that I'm going to need. Yeah. That's the bottom line, 100%. Right? Let me go into that.
It's hard to miss. It's hard to miss because these people will support you, because you're also entering a place that has extreme abundant mindset. So everyone is doing their best to actually lift you up, to support you, to connect you, to do all these things. So that's why it's so important. And I see a lot of people that you and I coach, the biggest problem that people have, it's fear. It's fear of when you put their feet to the fire, you got to get this done. They're like, I don't know if I can, or I don't know how to do it, or I'm afraid. And once you can help them remove the fear, you can show them the systems, things start to actually work.
So let's talk about that, because we both deal with fear, right? Because people think we are fearless, and that's just not true. So when we're dealing with fear, what's the conversation going on in your head when you got to go write $100,000 check for a mastermind, or you're going and hiring a coach for $10,000 a month, or whatever it is, which we've both done a lot of it, and we deal with the exact same conversation that other people deal with. How are you talking yourself off the ledge and getting in the game?
So for me, it's become a lot more analytical, right? For me, it's like, all right, if I'm gonna put 100K down on something, I need to make it back. Like, really, it's just math, because I just make it, it's just a business decision now. It's less like, will this change my life? Now it's more like, I need to do this because I'm very assertive on what I'm trying to achieve. I need to do this. Will this group help me do this by this time? Yes. Okay, well, I'm going to need these connections. I'm going in with like, I need this help, brother. If you can do that for me, then I'm in, and I want to give value, and I want to support, and I want to be that guy to other people as well in that group. So I removed the fear because I have very specific goals. So I say, okay, this is going to cost this, but I should be able to achieve this. And if I'm not, I need to either look at myself and are you showing up to this mastermind? Are you connecting with these people? Are you just kind of fucking taking it, going to the groups and leaving? Or it could be the group and be like, hey, I need this support. Where can you help me more? Because I spent some money on this thing. I need the help, right? So I have less fear now because I'm not putting it on. I think people that have fear are putting it on the coach or the mastermind. I think people like you and I have less fear because I'm putting it on myself. So if I fuck up, it's on me.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. No, I agree with that completely. I think that the reframe of that this is not a cost, right? That this is an investment. And I think that's important that self-talk is framed that way, because I promise you, if you have a conversation with yourself and talk about it in terms of investment versus in terms of cost, then your mind will react to it differently, because if it's an investment, then you expect a return. And
also, when you're real quick, when you're doing the investment side of stuff, a lot of people are like, they're thinking like, I got to get the money back in like an hour. I look at it like, I got to make that money back in a year.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a full, this is a year term. I got to make the money back. If you put 100K into something and you're supposed to get 200K back in 12 months, you're just going to sit there and wait those 12 months. You're not going to go, hey, I need more of a return in month 3. Like you know what you got into. So it's on you to put those 12 months in to get that return.
Correct. But the whole point is that you expect a return.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
That you do not expect to, you're not looking at it as a cost, which when you look at something as a cost, when you use that word, that feels like an expense, right? That feels like I'm not necessarily expecting something in return for it. And that should never be the way that you go into any kind of mentorship, any kind of coaching, any kind of mastermind, anything. You should expect an investment. And as what you're just saying is that you turn around, and then when that's the framing, now all of a sudden it's like, well, shit, if it's an investment and I expect a return, what are the things that I should be doing to guarantee that return, right? The responsibility begins to shift. How can I make sure that I get the money out of this investment versus, well, that shit's gone. And I think that's really important. One thing as you were talking, I was just sitting here thinking about, because I hear this a lot. There's a lot of people that say, well, yeah, I'm a part of a mastermind, and ask the follow-up question, or they tell me somebody's coaching them, and I'll ask them, what are you investing in? What's the cost to you? Oh, nothing. And I can almost guarantee in the vast majority of those people that the results that they're getting out of that are nothing.
It's nothing.
And the reason why, and I'll give you my opinion, I'll let you pipe in, brother, is that if you don't have skin in the game, back to exactly what I was just saying from an investment, if you don't expect a return on investment, then psychologically, your commitment to the process is much, much less.
100%.
I mean, if you're showing up to a meetup and you're picking up donuts and a cup of coffee at the back, that is not what the fuck we are talking about, even a little bit, right? We are talking about high achievers that are going to hold you to a level of accountability that is shockingly uncomfortable. But that you have an enormous amount of money where it's painful. You have an enormous amount of money that's invested in it. And that's squeezing from both sides is where all the good stuff happens.
Me and you have friends. I'm thinking one in particular that goes to every event ever, is invited to everything ever, doesn't have to pay for anything. And that's where that value stays. Doesn't create anything from it. And it's because it's going in as like, oh, I'm just going to hang out. I know these guys. It's like more of a social thing. You're not going in with like, I'm going to go do this thing and apply it and do this other thing, right? And also, in a weird way, I'm just going to be real with everyone, right? When you pay, you're showing other people you're the same. Because if you're showing up to a mastermind that Kent and I paid 100K for and you got in for free, I immediately respect you less. And so does the whole room, right? They look at you and like, oh, it's kind of like a freebie guy just coming in once or twice. You are, boom, like down on the totem pole. That's just real talk, right? And I've had multiple people say that, because I was going to go to an event that I could have just gone for free. And they were like, oh, well, if you pay, everyone else will like you more. Just because everyone else had to go through the same thing. And it makes sense. Right. And so you connect with people better. And it also hurts if you go out and make a big investment on a coach for fitness, right? And you pay this guy $10,000 or whatever, something high end, and you're not doing the work. It's on you, man. You're going to stay fat because you're the one that's not doing the work. He's going to give you the system and the program. But when you spend that kind of money, you're making sure that your body's going to look the way it needs to look, as opposed if you buy a $37 program, right? So you need the accountability. You need the coaching. You need the support. This life is lonely and hard, and not a lot of people can take it. Like, just real talk. It gets lonely. It's hard. You end up having like 5 real friends, 1 million people but all those 1 million people, a lot of them are going through the same scenario as you. And that's also like a huge, huge support, because your wife doesn't get it. Your local friends from the bar don't get it. Your buddy from Mississippi that you have beers with on Saturday doesn't even understand you. You need to have these relationships so you can go, shit, this is what I need to do. This is who I need to listen to. That's what I need to get to.
Amen, brother. I couldn't have said it better. I think that you hit on the if you don't pay. The other thing I think is really interesting about that comment is that a lot of people that'll hear this, they are interested in potentially coaching somebody, charging something for that coaching, opening up their own masterminds, etc. Very challenging and very incongruent to ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do.
100%.
You
Yeah.
become the biggest douchebag hypocrite out there on the planet when you talk about, oh man, I want to do a mastermind, I want to help, I want to coach people, but you're not willing to do the exact same thing, right? I find that shockingly, that's one of those where that's a hard hitting fact that you have got to be you need to be your own best customer, period. You have to be a product of the product.
We live in a world where everyone lies. Everyone lies. Everyone pretends. There's all these solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people that had success with one offer, and I've seen it for 10 years now. And I was one of them to a degree for a while, right? And I got out of it by being like, I can't live this life. I can't just like skedaddle by, have a good year, kind of, and then get back down and have a better year, and then kind of, and get back down. I need to build a real company, and I don't know how to do that. And I'm gonna go be in a group. I was in these like smaller networking bullshitters, like up and downers, right? And a lot of those people sell crap now. And now I associate myself with a different group. I've been able to build a pretty good sized business, moving forward into a way bigger business. I left the group that I was with completely, surrounded myself with the right people that are doing way bigger things than me, but that I can aspire to learn from, and I can aspire to understand their mistakes, and they can tell me directly, don't make that hire, do this, don't do this other thing, step in here. And that has supported me so much. And I invest in those things because so many people don't, and it's easy to call that out now. Everyone can show you a Lambo and everyone can show you a thing, but no one can show you a team of 20 people. No one can show you the events that they're actually going to that cost more than some Lambos that are rented and stuff like that. And so it also separates you from the bullshitters. You're really hanging out with the right circle of people that have your best interest at heart, because there's groups, these solopreneur groups that have like a coaching thing and tell you that they'll help you and they're only doing one thing, they have 2 employees. You don't want to learn from that. You want to learn from a guy like Kent who's got a massive real organization, because he's going to teach you stability. There's a huge difference between getting by, being stable, and scaling, right? You want to stabilize your business, have a strong foundation, and then have scale. Because if you don't have scale, you're going backwards. You have to find scale. Because if you don't, then you're regressing, and you will end up back at square one trying to figure out something or working for someone like us.
So, I mean, you touched on a lot of it here, but I want to try to wrap this particular episode up here pretty quick. Keep them nice and short and sweet. If somebody's looking for a mentor, I think you nailed a lot of it right there. Is there anything else you would add in the people that you need to be looking for when it comes to somebody that you need to hire as a mentor?
Proven results, proven testimonials, and they're also being coached by someone at the moment.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. The only thing I would add is that business is a reflection of the person. Right. So are they actually living the life that you want to live? Pay very close attention. And then last thing I would tell you is, which is a different way of saying exactly what you're saying, is that scars matter. And what I mean by that is that somebody's been in the business for a hot minute, and they've had some quick results, quick hits. Like you said, all of a sudden now they got the Lambo and got all the other bullshit and all the other toys. They have literally no wisdom of what it looks like to do when the business fails, because inevitably it will fall. I'd be very careful from learning people like that, because not that they're not good people, not that they're not good to learn from, a skill from, but when it comes to coaching and understanding how to navigate around corners, they don't have the experience to even tell you that yet, because they haven't gone through it yet. And so again, not saying anything bad, they can all be great, amazing people, but at the end of the day, you want to learn from people that have gotten the shit beat out of them a few times and still can stand up and say, here I am. Right. And I can do this.
That is us.
That's us, baby. All right, man. This has been great. We really appreciate you guys listening in. Please do us a favor and go on and leave us a review. Give us some comments. Let us know what's going on, what you want to hear more about. Los, anything else you want to leave them with?
Subscribe, and we will be doing these weekly-ish. For the most part, weekly, but we're both crazy busy. But we are doing the best we can to actually keep these things moving, and they're a lot of fun for us to do. So once we get in the cadence, guys, you can expect them weekly.
Peace. See you guys.
See you guys.